review of Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I want to mention no one is paying me to read and review this book. I purchased this book with my own money, and this is my full-on honest review of said book. I want to start out this review by reading you guys a quote. This is a quote that I don't remember the page number it was on, but it was at the start of the book, and it really said a lot to me. The quote is, if I was feeling depressed or frustrated about my lot in life, all I had to do was tap the Player One button, and my worries would instantly slip away as my mind focused itself on the relentless pixelated onslaught on the screen in front of me. There, inside the game's two-dimensional universe, life was simple. It's just you against the machine. Move your left hand, shoot with your right, and try to stay alive as long as possible. That quote really resonated with me because having been unemployed for such a long time, that how else do you pass your time? Play video games, binge watch Netflix, TV shows. So when I read that quote, it really spoke to me. I do have to say that this book really spoke to me a lot in many different ways. It was a book that I really felt like the author was a kindred spirit, that he really knows, what it's like, the reality of life when times are hard and how life is not easy for some. Well, anyways, Ready Player One takes place 30 years in the future. The recession that we are currently in now has not ended. It's still going on hard and strong. The resources, natural resources like oil and all that, they've been used up. People can't afford to buy gas, so their cars are parked. They live in these kind of shanty towns called the Stacks. It's a pretty sad world that Wade Watts, the main character, lives in. And a lot of people, not only do they just play this game called The Oasis, which is a multiplayer online game, everyone seems to play this, whether you have money or whether you don't. It's just a way of passing time. Instead of going away, they go away into an online reality. But another side to the story, while they're playing and enjoying experiencing this online world, they are also in search of the creator's Easter egg, which, once it is found, will award them with his entire estate, which is like billions of dollars and all these collectible video games that he has collected over the years. So everyone, they call themselves Gunters, are out in search of this prize. I mean, being that the times really suck, that everybody's hard on their luck, there's so many people that are out to get this. And of course, there is that evil corporation who represents the villain side of the book that just wants to find the Easter egg and then take this game and profit from it and make sure that people have to pay a subscription in order to continue playing it. So I really found that aspect interesting too. Now, yes, the culture of this world that's set 2044, yes, they are obsessed with 80s pop culture because the creator of this game, he himself grew up in the 80s and he was obsessed with 80s culture. Do you need to know a lot about the 80s? Do you have to have lived in the 80s to really enjoy this book? No. I've heard some people say that they thought that the references to 80s pop culture was kind of a shout out, like, a wink, hey, you know this too, and just a way for the author to, like, highlight things that he enjoyed from his childhood. But it brought back a lot of memories. Some of the stuff I had thought of and I really enjoyed myself. I recall my first gaming system that my dad had bought me for Christmas was an Atari 2600 and stuff like that. So it really spoke to me on that level. And then plus being a gamer, a lot of the PvP situations and gaming talk terminology really resonated with me. And someone else had also said that they thought this book was geared towards young readers because the main character, Wade Watts, yes, he is 18, he's a senior in high school, but this is adult fiction. I have to remind you of that. It is adult fiction. So it's not really written like a young adult novel. The wording is not, the font is not is oversized. It's not on thick pages. It is quite a long read. It's like 300 and some odd pages. I think it was almost 400 pages. I'm not sure exactly how many pages it was. Let me see here. It was 372 pages. But it was one that I noticed that I had read this book relatively quickly. So, you know, if I read a book that fast, I'm really into it. And it's just fast-paced with all the action and turn of events, not just in the virtual reality world, but in the real world. I don't want to give you guys any spoilers to, you know, ruin this book for you, but it is, on so many levels, there is so much going on in this book that just made me, it was a definite page-turner. I mean, I read it in such a short amount of time. And then what throws me is that a few other people had read it in a short amount of time, but yet they rated the book so low. Like, this one guy rated it 2 stars, but he read this book in like 5 or 6 days. So if you read that book that fast and you think it sucks, there's something wrong. But yes, I wanted to read this book because it was trending on BookTube. The plot and everything really interested me, so I wanted to check it out. I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I really do think this is really good. If you are a gamer yourself, if you're into science fiction, if you're, you know, into reading about class struggles, stuff like that, you know, sociological stuff, I think you should definitely check this out. It's at so many levels, this book is a good book. I don't think that it's as cut and dry as people think. It's just, you know, someone tried to say it wasn't that great because all it was a bunch of shout-outs to 80s pop culture. It's so much deeper than that, and the character development was really done well. I like the surprise twist at the end with some of the characters because it is the online world, and the friendships that Wade Watts has developed with these people over the number of years, I thought was interesting. I don't know if I'm going to read any more books by Ernest Cline.